Nigeria's economy today, touching base with all you need to know.
We sincerely apologize for the short break in transmission. It was due to technical hitch. If you are just joining us, it is still Nigeria's economy today. And I have here with me in the studio a digital entrepreneur discussing the practice of information and communication technology in Nigeria in the COVID-19 dispensation, Mr. Gboyega Aboderin. Mr. Aboderin, you actually made us to understand the impact of ICT, information and communication technology, during this COVID-19 dispensation. I want to move a little bit to the area of government. And the question is, what can NITDA, NITDA, National Information Technology Development Agency, and the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology do differently by way of upgrade on the national policy on ICT?
That is an interesting question. The evolution of information and communication technology is usually faster than even governments can keep up. And I'll give you an example, because even the private sector finds it sometimes to keep up with the evolution of information and communication technology. The example I want to give to you, if you look at the young men and women of today, you'll be shocked to find out that quite a number of them don't even do anything on a personal computer, on a PC that you and I are used to, sitting behind a PC, typing on a keyboard and looking at a screen.
Okay.
Every single thing they do is on their mobile phone. What do you do on your PC usually at work? You type letters, you communicate via email, you print, and so on and so forth. All of this now has moved to the mobile phone.
Okay.
And I'm talking of a space of just about 2-3 years. So, on the mobile phone, they can get jobs. So I can send a message to you on mobile phone, and you can give me a job, and you can send documents to me. I can respond to it on my mobile phone. I can send it back to you using some of the very popular applications that are online, like a Google Docs, etc. So they use all of those things on their phones. They transact business on the phone. They send you a quotation on the phone. They provide you an invoice on the phone. You send them payment on the phone. They receive the alert and they send you a payment receipt on the phone. So all the transactions have been carried out on the phone, no longer on a personal computer. So you'll be shocked to find out that youths of today, age 21, 22, 23, some of them have never sat in front of a PC before. And that is going to continue for the next few years to come. So the question is, how then do you have policies that would keep matching these shifts? And this shift is quite fast. It's evolving very fast. So we have the government, where you have the engine of government is a bit slow. And I'll give you an example. In 2001, the then Minister of Communication, Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Johnson, that was during Goodluck Jonathan's presidency. She came up with a committee that looked at the national ICT policy. Sat in 2012 and came up with a policy, and it took 2-3 years for the policy to come out. In those 2-3 years, things had moved on. Now we're in 2020, 6-7 years from when the policy was released. Things have changed. So one of the things that wasn't in the policy is the review period.
Okay.
How often should we be reviewing this policy? Should it be a specific period of time, just like a tenure of 4 years, or should it be as required? Should it be as required? As ICT evolves, should we work on our policy and make it match the realities of today? So, what is the reality of today? The reality of today, we did not plan for it.
Well,
all of us were going about our daily businesses normally. All of a sudden, we realized that we couldn't go to work again. We couldn't step out of our houses as usual any longer. So we now have to rely a lot on technology. But the policies that we have in place never envisaged that such a thing was going to happen. So going forward, how is the government going to treat that? So are we going to be creating or amending our policies or enhancing the policy or adding to the policy on a tenure basis or on an as required basis? I believe it should be as required basis, because to be honest with you, 5 years down the line, we do not know where ICT would be.
Okay, policies should be reviewed as required basis.
Yes.
Now, still talking about the policy and having the COVID-19 in mind, would you advocate for upgrade of the ICT curriculum in our secondary and tertiary institutions?
ICT curriculum in institutions. Let me use the example of secondary school. The secondary schools now, as a result of COVID-19, especially the private ones.
Yes.
I know the public ones were doing school over TV, so they were using local TV, the NTA, and such like to provide training and tuition to their students. Most of the private schools utilized the web video conferencing apps like the Microsoft Teams, the Google, and the Zoom to continue their third term. And it made them realize that they can actually carry out training over the internet.
Okay.
But though at a cost. There's a cost of data to the parents of the pupils. There's a cost of data to the school. And there's also the cost of training their staff to be able to understand how to use online training, and also the etiquette that goes along with it. How do you speak? How do you dress? How do you behave? So that haven't happened. We're believing that the schools have learned a lesson on how to conduct tuition online, and then incorporate that into one, their own school policy, and then number two, their own ICT policy. Because what are schools using ICT for today? Are they using ICT to train students on how to demystify mathematics, to teach them about simultaneous equation, to teach them about the laws of motion? So are they using it for such things, or are they just claiming that, oh, we have an ICT lab where we train children on how to use the computer? It should not be on how to use the computer. It should be how the computer can demystify things that are difficult for them. How we can use audio and visual training in the computer to let the children understand better and even faster.
Okay, what you are actually advocating now is that irrespective of the course that you are understudying in the tertiary institutions, ICT is a must.
It is a must.
If you are probably studying history, philosophy, even if it is not ICT related, ICT should be entrenched in all the courses. Is that what you are saying now?
Yes, it should be. And let me give you a very quick example.
Okay.
And I'll take just one of the unregular courses which people are not too familiar with. For instance, sociology.
Okay.
Now, in this sociology and even psychology, and then the psychiatrists, in this COVID-19 dispensation, we also need to recognize that when people were locked down for a period of time, there were societal issues. Because people were locked down I mean, people hadn't been at home together for a very long period of time. So, there were societal issues. There were issues of mental unwellness, because people were not used to those kind of things. So if I was a sociology student in the university, I would love to be able to have access to technology that allows me to be able to do research on societal issues, even in dispensations like this. I'll be able to have access to the internet where I can do research. I'll be able to have access to the internet to do modeling of different communities, the low-income community, the medium-income community, and then also the rich community. That what impact has the pandemic had on the medium-level community that maybe is bringing them down to the low-income community? What impact is it having? I should be able to, as a sociologist, be able to model what could likely happen using technology. But if all I do in university is paper and biro from my year 1 to my year 4, I'm going to leave unprepared for the technological world. Yeah? Okay. So that's why I believe strongly that all the tertiary institutions, College of Education, polytechnics, universities, they need to introduce technology across every single department. Yes.
Now, well taken, information and communication technology has to be entrenched in all the courses that have been offered in
every single course.
Institutions, and even in secondary schools.
Yes.
Like we have said, even secondary schools now, they are using different software to learn, even during the COVID-19 dispensation. At this point, I'd like to open the telephone line for our viewers to join in the conversation. It is still the practice of ICT in the COVID-19 dispensation. Now, talking about software and hardware, is there anything the government is doing to encourage the local manufacturers of hardware and software in Nigeria? Another way to add to that is that what can they do to encourage local manufacturers of software and hardware? We are talking about Nigeria now. Okay,
let me look at the whole industry, and I'll take hardware first. Okay. Hardware, we're talking of PCs. Yeah. We're talking of the monitor screen that we watch it on. We're talking of printers. We're talking of scanners. And we're even talking as little as the mouse. The mouse is a plastic device that has a cable coming out of it into your computer, or it can be wireless. The question is there any company in Nigeria that can produce that plastic object from end to end? It is difficult. Why? We have the issue of power. How do you power that factory? You power the factory with generator. You power the factory with premium from NEPA and from PHCN. They've been broken down into different EKDC, IKDC. Some of us are still in the old, the old era. So they require power majorly to run their business. Okay. And they also require some form of protection. Because by the time I spend so much producing just that little thing called a mouse, and there is no protection, from, it's on, there's no protection from government, and people can import a mouse in millions. It's a very tiny item. It doesn't weigh so much. So I can import about 1 million of mice and be selling, in the computer villages all over Nigeria. Wow. So it's cheaper to import the mouse than to manufacture it in Nigeria. Then how does the government protect such an organization? How does the government protect an organization that is producing computers? The computer The computer that you see on your table, it has a casing that is made of metal. Do we have companies in Nigeria that are producing metal? Like, yes, we hear about Ajaokuta Steel Mill. We hear about the one in Delta State. But are they producing the raw material that I need to build a computer? I need a computer casing. I need a board, a motherboard, the engine inside it. The motherboard has chips in it. Do we have companies in Nigeria that are empowered, to produce that? The unfortunate answer is no, we do not.
Wow.
And because we do not, we're asking ourselves, what will it take the government to support these organizations so to do? These questions can be answered by those who are in it right now. And if you permit me, I can mention one or two of them, because they're very popular in Nigeria. Zynox, who produce computers in Nigeria, but they're more or less assembling it rather than producing it. So how much, and then being an advocate on behalf of government, how much can the government pump in? We're not looking at cost-benefit analysis now. How much can the government pump in just to protect that industry when it might even be cheaper? And government can also earn taxes on importation. So they have to do some cost-benefit analysis.
Government will also earn tax if there is local production of those materials.
That is absolutely correct. Then the next question is volume. I mentioned earlier on that we're moving away from things like personal computers to personal devices. So what volume does the government want us to produce and protect that is worth the trouble when we're actually moving? So maybe we should be looking at producing devices, producing phones. In Nigeria today, we probably have over 100 million handheld devices all over the place. And we change them practically every year or 2 years maximum. So government should be looking at supporting those who are willing to set up phone factories in Nigeria. That is what I would advocate. There was a period when it was claimed that we have about 10 million farmers in Nigeria, and those farmers were given handheld devices. No matter how much those phones cost, if you multiply it by 10 million naira that we used in importing those phones and handed them over to the farmers, it is enough to build a phone factory in Nigeria. Why are we not doing so? So the government should be providing incentives for those who are willing, the local producers who are willing to go into such businesses. And as we continue to rely on handheld devices, the phones, it means that more and more needs to be produced for the Nigerian market. And we're also having a younger generation that are very desirous of having the phones in their hands, which means that there's going to be continuous market for devices for the next decade or more.
Okay, you have talked so much on the hardware.
Yes.
Can you share your thoughts on the software aspect?
Okay, software, very good. Software has languages. So you might hear things like ASP.NET, C#, Java, Angular, Native, etc., DevOps, etc. So you hear such things being mentioned. But none of these things I've mentioned, none of them is indigenous to Nigeria. ASP.NET is by Microsoft, C#, Java, they're all, some of them are open source, meaning that they're free, and some of them you have to pay for them. And we also have the databases that they sit on. The databases are also not Nigerian. They're either Indian or American, Oracle, Microsoft database, etc. So they have already cornered the market worldwide. So the question is, so for something like databases, should Nigeria have its own indigenous database? If it should, is the market wide enough to take all the databases that Nigeria needs? I believe strongly that the market is big enough. And ask me why I say so.
Why?
If you go to either the CBN or NOTAP, NOTAP is another government agency that is responsible for ensuring that there's transfer of technology, from foreign companies to Nigerian companies, and ask how much have we spent in buying software, whether databases or application software, and then also how much do we give out, how much do we spend on an annual basis on what we call annual maintenance to the foreign companies. If those amounts were put together and used in developing the software market in Nigeria, it would reduce drastically the foreign exchange that we spend and give out to other countries. It has been done in India. So it is not rocket science. All we need to do is go and understudy. How did India get to a point where they have now become more or less the software giant of the whole world? If I need a software today and I need it ASAP, as soon as possible, I can get across to India. And there are developers of software who are sitting down there 24/7, willing to provide the software for me. Why? They have government support. 2, they have electricity 24/7. 3, they have a body of knowledge. That's a number of other developers where they share knowledge. Ask me, how many bodies of knowledge do we have in Nigeria? People of the same software leaning who come together and brainstorm and also share ideas on how the software they're using in their respective organizations are providing, are working for them efficiently and also effectively. And let me also quickly mention the part of people. Do we have software developers in Nigeria, Nigerian software developers, who are ready, right, to produce software according to international standards? Do we? Yes, we do. But they also need support. Some of them have been trained by the top software manufacturers in the world, and they have come back, to their country. If you go down to Yaba is our software hub in Lagos. There's so many software practitioners there, but they also need knowledge. They need continuous training. They need to maintain certain standards, and most importantly, our software should be comparable to what is produced abroad so that we can compete. We should be able to compete. But the only way we can compete is if the quality of our software can be assured. If our software, they're properly tested, in fact, they're properly designed, they're properly built, and they're properly tested before they are handed over to those who need it. So have all those boxes been ticked? Have we designed it properly? Have we built it properly? Have we tested it sufficiently enough? Can we sign it off, quality assured? These are very important questions that if we do not overcome these hurdles, we will not be comparable. We can't compete with software from other parts of the world.
Obviously, government's involvement in supporting the local players in the development of software and hardware in the country cannot be overemphasized.
It cannot be.
We will continue with the discussion, but let's quickly go on a short break.
Thank you.
When we come back, we will continue with the discussion on the ICT practice in Nigeria. Join us again. Thank you.
Thank you.
trader.
I am a hairdresser.
Patronize me because I put a lot of uniqueness to my craft.
Me, I dey sew cloth.
My shop is at Onikwan.
I am a photographer.
And I am a shoemaker.
Me, Seth Abibaba.
In 1 minute, sell yourself, sell your business, and your crafts and your services to the world on the Super Breakfast Show, showing on Super Screen Television every last Saturday of the month from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Don't forget to include your phone numbers and your business address. Selling made easy.
Welcome back. It's still Nigeria's economy today, and we are discussing the practice of information and communication technology in Nigeria. I still have with me in the studio Mr. Gboyega Aboderin. Mr. Aboderin, there are phases of transformation. There was a time we had what is called the industrial age, after which we had what is called the information age. Today, people are talking about the digital age. Some people call it the internet age, and I prefer to call it digital economy. Do you think this is sustainable, especially in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much. Digital age, I will tell you, is the sweetest age for now.
Okay.
Things that used to take so long to do are now being done in the fraction of the time. So, 20, 30 years ago, an architect required a draftsman to draw a plan, and then they put it together.
Yeah.
Today, because of technology, you can do the same thing within hours. And this cuts across every single area of any economy in the world. We breeze through airport check-in now because of digitalization. I get into the airport check-in, I bring out my passport, I put it on a machine. What a human being would have done. The machine checks the validity of my passport, cross-checks it with my boarding, cross-checks it with my booking, and recognizes me to be on that flight, and based on that, issues me a boarding pass. Okay, after saying this, I know your next discussion might be, oh, aren't people going to lose their jobs?
Sure.
True, people lose jobs. But as a result of digital economy, people also gain jobs. Because all this digital we're talking about is still human beings that create them. When people talk about artificial intelligence, saying, oh, technology will now be behaving like humans, we must recognize that even that artificial intelligence, machine learning, they require data that has been provided by human beings. And they predict based on a trend of how I do things. The machine then predicts what I'm going to do tomorrow based on the data that has been fed to it, that I do this at 7 o'clock every morning. So the machine can tell me that, Gboyega, your meeting is planned for 7 a.m. Or based on my transactions in my bank, recognizing that I pay cable TV, on a monthly basis, on a particular day of the month. And the system has recognized how much I pay. Based on that data, the bank can offer to be paying that for me on a monthly basis in the form of a loan and charge me a certain percentage. So it has not involved human interaction, but it's a human being that will set up that system to look out for that parameter. It's the human being that would say, I want to know what this person does periodically. And machine, you scan through this much of data and give it to me. So it still requires human intervention, human involvement at some point. Let me give you one very quick example of something that happened in this COVID period.
Okay.
On the 4th of May, I think it was in Lagos, 4th of May, we were allowed to, some partial allowance to go out to start work, but with a bit of restriction. So some gentleman came to the office and said he's been fired and he needs the COVID-19 palliative, that how can he be helped? So I asked him, what were you doing? And he said, oh, he's a marketer and he's been fired as a marketer. And I said to him that the skill that you have as a marketer, I do not have it.
Okay.
That skill, all you require now is to understand how technology works, and you begin to market products for people using technology. It's faster, and you can market a varying range of products and services. So what I'm trying to say with this also is that it is not all doom and gloom. Because a lot of people are saying, COVID-19, we're losing our jobs. Downturn in the economy, we're losing our jobs. We're receiving pay cuts. Technology has come in. Now that we used technology for COVID-19, will our employers still need us when COVID-19 is over? Now that they've realized that they can actually do without us.
Yes.
Because technology came in. No. Even event management, people who are into events, now they are doing events online.
Okay.
Yes. So when there's an event online now, annual general meeting is now being done electronically, virtually. Burials, because you are not allowed to have more than 20 people attending a burial, is now being done virtually. Birthdays, celebration of birthdays is now being done virtually. Now, do I know how to operate this video conferencing app? I don't. So I rely on an event manager who has now understood the needs of technology to run his event management. Exhibitions were meant to have been held end of February, beginning of March. Those exhibitions were cancelled. Now the exhibitions are going to hold sometime soon, and they're going to hold virtually.
Wonderful.
So technology is helping us, to recognize that we can do certain things in different ways, and we can still continue to earn our income from it. So digitalization, for me, is an enabler. It enhances, and it is also a catalyst to make things that took longer to now happen faster. And it cuts across all industries. Go into medical, digitalization can be used in medical. Go into broadcasting, digitalization can be used for broadcasting. Go into agric, digitalization can be used for agric. Gone are the days, in the days of our parents, it took a long time for them to move from cropping to harvesting, planting to harvesting. Now, with digitalization, it's better achieved. Yield is better because they don't have to go toil on the farm. They can send drones to help them check on their farms, to check whether water is needed, to check whether pests are infesting, and also to spray. So the digital world is bringing up new opportunities that I would recommend to Nigerians to research on and to tap into.
So digitalization has come to stay, and it should be entrenched in all our operations. Now, talking about digitalization, talking about ICT, as a digital entrepreneur yourself, can ICT be the next oil for Nigeria? Can Nigeria exploit ICT and earn revenue from it?
It is the next oil for Nigeria. Take it or leave it. It is the next oil for Nigeria. And I would use a couple of examples. I wouldn't mention names. There's some companies. Okay, let me take you back. Maybe you might not remember, but let me take you back.
Okay.
There was a time we had a military head of state who used to send technical, it was called Technical Aid Corps.
Yeah.
And sent them to West African countries. And Nigerians, they excelled there. We have the population. We have the education. We have staying power. We're resilient. Nigerians go to any part of the world and they excel.
Okay.
Because we have the requisite knowledge. We were trained in school very well. Right? Even though people still say, oh, education in Nigeria is falling apart now and all that. But to a large extent, looking around Africa, we're still the most opportuned in education. We have the confidence and the boldness to take our education and apply it in any part of the world. So we have some things going for us.
Sure.
Therefore, I do not see any reason why we should not have like a ministry or agency that is responsible for identifying skilled Nigerians that can be exported. And exported in such a program where in some time future they come back with their additional knowledge and skills and experience, develop Nigeria. So we're sending them out and we're bringing them in. But for those that cannot be sent out and are here, we have, like again I say, we have the numbers, we have the education. So we can set up call centers in Nigeria.
Okay.
For inbound and outbound calls. We have graduates who studied mass communication. We have graduates who are multilingual, French, Portuguese, Russian, because in UI that I attended, we had students who are studying Russian, meaning that we can have multilingual call centers in Nigeria, that different parts of the world can outsource their call center services to us. We speak good English. So if it's English, if it's good spoken English that is required, we have it. If it's languages, we're trained in languages.
Okay.
So Nigeria is positioned, and that's just what I've mentioned, just call center, and I'll mention a few others. Nigeria is positioned to offer outsourcing services to the world, where we can then be earning foreign exchange for Nigeria from within Nigeria. Nigerians have creative people. And when I talk of creative people, I'm talking of graphic artists, I'm talking of content creators, I'm talking of producers, directors, etc. That we can provide freelance services from Nigeria to the outside world. COVID-19 has shown us that we can sit behind a computer and we can have video conferencing meetings without having to fly abroad.
That's true.
Which means that they can give us jobs, they can give us content creation jobs, they can give us graphic design jobs from outside Nigeria in Nigeria. So we earn foreign currency. There's a company that has also recruited and taken out Nigerian software developers.
Wow.
Why have they chosen Nigeria? Because they found us to be educated, they found us to be resilient, they found us to be hardworking, and then they now teach us in the way of, their own ethos, their company ethos and practices abroad. And they're enjoying the services of Nigerians. So in the area of software, we can provide it to the outside world as long as the quality is assured. That's important. The quality needs to be assured.
Yeah.
The people need to be well trained. They should be knowledgeable, they should be well trained. They should understand work ethics, not play around with their jobs because they're being paid for it. In the area of outsourcing, we're ready. We have project managers, we have call centers. In the area of security, IT security, we have a lot of Nigerians who are into IT security. So we can provide all these services. And we can start with West Africa.
So there is potentials for Nigeria.
There's a lot of
and
potentials.
Oil can be ICT can be the next oil for us. Now, maybe this should be the last question because of our time. Your final words of encouragement to about 4 sets of people now. The job seekers, those that are in paid employment, ICT players, and the government. The job seekers, those that are presently in paid employment, ICT players, and the government. Your final words of encouragement to them.
Okay, thank you very much. For the job seekers, my word of encouragement, there's enough room in ICT for you to thrive. The first piece of advice I would give to you is, what area do you as a person, do you have strength in? Every single person is skilled in one thing or the other. So what area are you skilled in? Nigerians already have an entrepreneurial spirit. All you need to do as a job seeker is identify, like I said, an area where you're skilled in. And it can be as low as whether you're cooking, whether you're plaiting hair, whether you're barbing, whether you're a mechanic. Every single area you can use technology to enhance that business. Fortunately enough, a number of state governments and even the federal government, they're giving opportunities to job seekers through Empower and all other type of schemes, to provide you with jobs, even though you might think, oh, these jobs are low paying, but it puts you in a position where you can also learn.
Yeah.
And you can learn information and communication technology and use it, to enhance whatever skill that you have. It's important. So job seekers, don't be despondent, do not be depressed. Find out the area that you have passion in. Talk to your representative, whether it's your local government chairman, or it's your state assembly representative, or it's your federal National Assembly representative. Bring yourselves together into a group of people, a cooperative. Approach them. Let them know that you are job seekers. Let them know that these are your plans, and let them, fund it, support it for you. For paid employers, I know a number of people are fearful because of pay cut, and some of them are unsure whether their jobs will still exist, after some time.
Yeah.
Whilst you are inside that organization,
Okay.
learn.
Learn what now?
Learn a new skill.
Okay.
In most organizations, you're given the opportunity to attend 1 or 2 courses. Unfortunately enough, courses are now online and also cheaper. Gone are the days where we stood in front of a class for 3 days or 5 days. Now, people are sitting behind their desk and they're offering training to vast number of people. Then we used to say, oh, you can't be more than a certain number in the class.
Sure.
But now, there's no restriction on numbers. So join a training class. There's some training classes that are free. In fact, quite a number of training classes that are free. So you can go online and search for it. Free training provided by some of the companies or even universities abroad.
Yeah.
So paid employers, paid employees, please take advantage of what is available for you now in your company. Talk to HR. Let them know that you're desirous of attending certain courses, whether they're management courses or whether the ones that enhance your profession. Go online. Courses are affordable now. get on there. And also, importantly for paid employees, you already have a skill, you have a job. Begin to use your skills and your knowledge and be passing it on to others for a fee. Some of these online training providers are also asking you, come and train on our platform and earn an income for it. So the paid employees have an advantage. You know, they still have a job, they have the knowledge, they have the skills, they have the experience. And they can also use that as reference, so that I do this in this organization. Therefore, I'm in a good position to train you on this subject. So because they're subject matter experts. So please, if you're a paid employee, don't be discouraged. Just improve upon what you are doing right now. ICT players, it has never been a better time for the telecoms companies.
Say that again.
So we're waiting for their annual report. It has never been a better time. The volume of data that is being utilized at this time, the COVID-19 time, is mind-boggling. You can imagine a video conferencing app like a Zoom. People are on it for 1 hour for either church or for online training or for an AGM or for a funeral service. And in that 1 hour, you utilize about 1 gig of data. And 1 gig of data, 1 gigabyte of data probably cost about 300 naira. And you can imagine about 500 people logging in at the same time, utilizing that, and then multiplied by the number of. So the telecoms companies that provide data services, their alerts the bank alerts are just popping in. So which then gives them money that they can reinvest for the future. The other ICT players, like the software development companies, there's still light at the end of the tunnel. What software development companies are doing right now are looking at opportunities where they can create virtual exhibition software. Some of them, even I know of one company in Africa here that has started their own Zoom also. So they're looking at such opportunities as well. For the hardware companies, their own time will come.
Okay.
let me put it that way.
Okay. And lastly, for the government. Few seconds.
Yes. I have looked at the ESC, Economic Sustainability Plan, that is being chaired by the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. And there's a portion there that they're encouraging ICT through the Ministry of Technology and also NCC. Analog to digital, moving from analog to digital is one of the things that the Economic Sustainability Plan wants to take care of. And then also the digital economy and then broadband. So that is a step in the right direction from government, and it shows.
Okay, thank you very much. The government has the right step in the right direction. It's been very informative and educative talking on ICT in the COVID-19 era. Thank you very much, Mr. Gboyega Aboderin, for coming on the show to share your thoughts.
Thank you for having me, sir. This
is where we wrap it up. However, the conversation continues on our social media platforms. On Instagram and Twitter, we are at economy_Nigeria. And on Facebook, it's Nigerians Economy Today. And you can catch up with the previous episodes, and particularly this episode, on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on Nigerians Economy Today. Thank you very much for watching from wherever you are watching. I want to invite you to join us same time, same station next week. I am Tunde Odeyemi. God bless Nigeria.